Hey everyone, welcome to another video, and in this video I am going to be talking about Zwift's latest updates and giving us updates on their release cadence and how that is going to be increasing. I'm going to be talking about how it's going to affect Zwift in the long term and some potential downsides to that, because it's not always good and more isn't always better. So let's dive into the video. Alright, so first off, jumping onto the forums, you can take a look at the Zwift game release notes, and Zwift states that they are going with this change and the scale of last month's phased release. We skipped a few release numbers. With release 1.39, we are now back on our planned schedule. This update was a pretty big update, so they did skip a few numbers in the release. And they also noted that in addition, Zwift is moving to a 2-week release cadence, which will now allow for more frequent updates. And so this is going to mean that every 2 weeks, Zwift is going to be releasing a new update, and based off of what we've seen in this update, that's not going to quite be a good thing. And for a long time, Zwifters have requested for a beta program on Zwift because of all the bugs that are released with every single update. Zwifters calling it more of a bug date than an update, so that's kind of a really big issue that Zwift has been I'm not sure if they're actually trying to solve it, but I do know that they do work to make sure that there's as little bugs as possible. But as always, it is software, so there are always going to be issues with each release. But this release, I feel like there were quite a bit more. And when I take a look at my list of bugs that I have on my website, you can see that there are at least 5 already, and every day I see more and more popping up on the forums. And some of these are major, some of these are minor things, but they are still bugs. And Zwifters, now that it is a 2-week release cadence, that's going to mean that Zwift is likely not going to be releasing any minor updates like the week after or stuff like that, because they're just going to end up including it into the next game release, because it is only 2 weeks away, and they figure that unless it's a really urgent issue, that it's not really worth fixing earlier rather than later. So while it is great to see Zwift adding more features and adding new content to the game, it's not great to see all these bugs that were released. And you can see that in this release we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I know that there's at least 7, and there's 2 others that I haven't added yet because they have just popped up this morning, and I'm waiting for Zwift to confirm that these are actual bugs and not just one-off situations. And this really does affect the users quite a bit, and it draws Zwifters away from Zwift when they see that there are so many bugs in each release, and it can be quite frustrating for the user to try to Zwift when it's just not working. Alright, so something that some Zwifters have suggested that Zwift can do in order to kind of fix this and improve the experience for Zwifters of all levels and of all abilities is adding a beta group to sort of test the app before they release the next version. And now, since Zwift is switching to that 2-week cadence, it would be really rough to do a beta group and have everything fixed and ready in the span of 2 weeks. It would have to be a really long-term thing, similar to what Apple does with their public beta, and that's kind of something that Zwift can do, because I know that the Zwift community is really powerful, and there are so many users out there who are willing to help Zwift and willing to do what they can to help improve the experience of others. You can see that by how many bugs are reported every day, and how there are other users who are chiming in, trying to solve the situation and help to make sure that they can make Zwift's job as easy as possible, so they can continue to provide content at a good speed. So while it is nice to see that Zwift is rolling out more and more features, I don't know if it's really worth all the bugs that there are in each release. And I know that it is a natural thing to have bugs in game releases, but I think that with this 2-week cadence, there are going to be more and more each time as the workload increases and Zwift tries to provide the needs of the users. So, my personal take on this topic. While yes, when I first heard about this 2-week release cadence, I was pretty happy and I was like, okay, that means that we're going to be getting a lot more features at a lot quicker of a pace, and that's just really great overall because I'm someone who loves to see new content, new features, and all that fun stuff, and I'm sure you all do too. And that also means that we get new roads faster, we get all these features that are promised to us quicker, Zwift can address the demands of the community better. But that's not necessarily true because of how many bugs there are, and that's honestly, it's going to do more harm than good, I think, in the long term, because Zwift is going to have to, after each release, they're going to have to address the bugs, and that's going to slow down the development of other new features, I think. And honestly, it's not necessarily going to make it that great of an experience for the users as it sounds. So honestly, I don't love this too much now that I think more about it, rather than just seeing the announcement of more updates quicker. When I first saw that, I was, as I said earlier, pretty excited, but now when I think about it, it isn't necessarily a good thing. So if you have any thoughts or opinions on this topic or suggestions of what Zwift could do, please leave that in the comments below and I will be sure to read that and get to you guys. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and see you all next time. Ride on.